أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى إثرة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today is the Shahadat day of our fourth holy Imam, Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, and I offer my condolences to each and every one of you, and together we offer our condolences to our living Imam, Imam Muhammad Mehdi Sahib Zaman Ajalallahu Farajahum. Today is the last of our talks on the series of Dua Bringing It Home, and we are looking at Dua Makarimul Akhlaq, which has been given to us by this holy Imam, Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, and in order to try to bring this dua into our homes, into our lives, into our personalities, so that we can actually better our akhlaq, so that we can inshallah get the best akhlaq, which is Makarimul Akhlaq, inshallah. So we are looking at the last line before the salawat in the first stance, where Imam tells us to say, وَانْتَحِي بِنِيَّتِي إِلَىٰ أَحْسَنِ النِّيَّاتِ وَبِعَمَلِي إِلَىٰ أَحْسَنِ الْأَعْمَالِ, and make my intention the best of intentions, and my work, my deeds, the best of works, the best of deeds. So let's have a look at that in a little bit more detail. Obviously, intention, like action, has degrees of excellence, and the perfection or the imperfection of action depends on the perfection or imperfection of intention. And that's why we've combined the two lines. They're actually two lines, but we've combined them together because the intention and the work, the intention and the deeds are very, very interlinked. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Mulk, which is Surah number 67, verse 2, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. He who created death and life, that he may try you to see which of you is best in deeds, and he is the mighty, the forgiving. So the above verse actually talks about quality, not quantity. It doesn't say he's looking at seeing how many deeds we're doing, but looking at the best of our deeds. And as we said, in order to get the best deed, in order to get the best quality of an action, we need to have the best intention. It is the intention that gives the action the quality. It is the intention that actually sets the action into motion. Without intention, there would be no action, and there would be no quality within the action. In fact, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, again, looking at the words of Imam Hussein in this holy month, which is the month of the sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, seems very apt. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam tells us, intention is superior to action. Nay, indeed, intention is the very essence of action. So it's not only that intention is superior to action, but it is intention that actually brings the action into fruition. Without the intention, there would be no action. So it's important to recognize how important the intention is. And this is why we have a hadith from the Holy Prophet that on that day, on the day of judgment, every action will be judged on its intention. So it's important to recognize how important the intention is. The best of deeds is that which is based upon the best of intentions. And the best of intentions is the purest of intentions. How do we get purity within our intention? Is it if we make sure that the intention for any action is solely for the pleasure of Allah. So this concept of qurbatan ila Allah, which we normally translate as for the pleasure of Allah, it should be only for the pleasure of Allah. So I'm doing this solely for the pleasure of Allah. And not only is it only for the pleasure of Allah, but it must be done in the way He tells me to do it. So how do I bring this home? As I said, there's a hadith from the Holy Prophet where he says, Innamal a'malu binniyat. Indeed, the action is judged on its intention. So we need to reflect on our intention behind every action. Each and every action, we need to reflect on what my intention is. So although the action, even though it is an ibadah, so it may be something like salah, it may have started with vocalizing the qurbatan ilallah, so that I'm praying it only for your pleasure, Allah. But am I? Am I doing it only for His pleasure? Or am I doing it because that's the expectation of me? That's because my parents have told me to. That's because I'm doing it as a tick box exercise, or I'm doing it because I want heaven, or because I'm scared of hell, or because I'm doing it to show others. Or am I truly doing it only for His pleasure? How do I know if I'm doing it for His own pleasure, only for the pleasure of Allah? It's when my expectation is from Allah. So if I'm doing it for the pleasure of heaven, or because I'm scared of hell, that's not as bad as if I'm doing it for the pleasure of others, because heaven and hell is from Allah. So if my expectation is from Allah, then it may be that I'm doing something because of my expectation for heaven from Him, and that's not bad. I can slowly move on to doing it only for His pleasure because He deserves to be worshipped. But at least my niyyah is only for His pleasure, and therefore my expectation is from Him. But if I'm doing it for others, I know it's for others because my expectation is from others. So when I'm doing something with an expectation that I should get something back from others, then there's a problem. What else is required for a pure intention? As I said, it's not only looking at it only for His pleasure, but also looking at doing it in the best way that He would want me to do it. So finding out exactly how He would want me to do this action, and then doing it in that way. What about other actions? So it's, if it's ibadah, then it's a little bit easier to do it only for His pleasure. But what about other actions? So what about when I'm helping others, when I'm doing my work, when I'm cooking, when I'm cleaning, when I'm going out, when I'm, I don't know, helping someone, when I'm studying, whatever it is that I'm doing, when I'm going out to work? How do I make the niyyah, the action, the best of actions, the niyyah, the best of niyyahs? I need to, again, do it only for His pleasure and in the way He tells me to do it. And in that way, then all actions become an ibadah. But it's not only important that I remember to do it only for His pleasure at the beginning of the action, but also throughout the action and also after the completion of the action. So at the beginning of every action, if I actually verbalize the intention, and I know the intention doesn't need to be verbalized, it's enough that it's in my heart. But in order to, if I verbalize it, then what it does is it reminds me of the intention, because a lot of the times we do it without thinking. We do it uh, as a routine. We do it because that's what we're used to. So if I actually verbalize every the intention before doing any action, then I'm reminding myself that I'm doing this for the pleasure of Allah. And then throughout the action, I need to remember that intention. And then once the action is completed, how do I ensure that the intention stays pure? Because if I tell someone else about my intention, if I tell someone else about, sorry, my action, if I tell someone else that I did this good action, then really my intention is to show off to that person. My intention is to get the wahwa from that person. My intention is to let others know what an amazing person I am. So, in order not to corrupt my intention after the completion of the action, what would help is maybe do a sajda shukr to remind myself that I was only able to complete the action because of the tawfiq given by Allah, the opportunity given by Allah for me to do this action and complete the action, and then to forget the action. Actually, just completely put it out of my mind so that it never comes back up again. So I'm never reminded of it, so that I never then corrupt my intention of it. Because as human beings, we want, especially living in this, the society that we live in the world that we live in now, we want this instant gratification. So it's very easy for me to corrupt my intention by getting the instant gratification of being acknowledged by others and getting the wahwa of others. So, in order not to get drawn into that, it is important that once I've thanked Allah for allowing me the opportunity to do that action and complete that action, then I put it away. Just forget about it. Totally put it out of my mind, so that that action then stays purely for the pleasure of Allah, inshallah. I hope that this series has been of use to you, and please feel free to email me on alima@hujjat.org for any constructive feedback that you may have in order to better these series that I'm doing, or any other series. And if there is anything that you feel would benefit you, please, I am open for suggestions. Thank you very much for joining me in this series of dua, bringing it home. We pray to Allah that He accepts all of this from us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi